Nearly 2.5 months ago, when we started this journey, we started it with some trepidation. We worried that we were not ready to once again enter the realm of Westeros. But in those months, we have accepted it. We are glad to be back home because, boy, shit is hitting the fan. Oh my god. Welcome to the finale of Fake Nerds Watch, House of the Dragon, or as my lovely co-host Ryan Eliopoulos likes to call it, the Hot D.
Hot D, baby. Hot D season.
The Hot D season is here. And of course, we are joined by none other than Sparkz Woody himself.
I'm really happy to be in Westeros, where we rest a lot. I am ready for Westeros time.
Did I say
you can call me a Westerosi?
That's what they call me every day.
Did I actually say that, or do I actually call it Westeros?
Listen, there's a little bit of a slur there, but you know what? It happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us.
Well, damn.
It's okay, bud. We're here. We're here to talk about some Game of Thrones.
We are here to talk about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, the finale. We talked about the first half of the season, pre-time jump, and now we are talking about the second half of the season.
And now we got like 16 years to talk about.
Yeah, 16 years, a lot of shit went down, and oh my, this is definitely one of those shows. This Rings of Power, I mean, we talked about it on the Fake Nerds podcast quite a bit, how fantasy is back, it's coming in strong. Blink agrees. Blink's just laying there being the cute little kitty cat that she is. But I want to say, out of the two, House of the Dragon definitely gave me like the bigger oomph, and this is definitely the show that I cannot wait to see season 2 of. If I had to pick one or the other, House of the Dragon wins over Rings of Power. Rings of Power, while still good, House of Dragons.
I will say they are doing very different things. They are two sides of the same coin. So it's not like I would pit my two children against each other. But I will say, Ben, I do agree with you. I had a overall better time with House of the Dragon. While trying to do more with it, it stumbled, but I think the swings that it took and the drama that unfolded was very, very engaging. From week to week, I was specifically once like the time jump started happening in Viserys, especially Viserys. Like once his character got older and older, I'm just like, man, like there's some really bad things about to happen to this kingdom. In this what feels like a prequel season, really, to the show we're actually going to get in the future.
Yeah.
For clarification, in case anyone's new to this and watch our part 1, we are talking about episodes 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of the season.
That's the time jump.
You're not going to hear any 1 through 5 stuff.
That's old stuff.
Just in case you came to this video first. Just to be clear.
Essentially, we're spoiling the entire second half of the season. If you want to know what happened in the first half for a recap, just go watch that episode. It's up here. It's there.
Or read a book.
Or read a book. That too.
Yeah.
I get because it's already been said. Like, if I were to say which one I favored, it would be Rings of Power for me. I think both are good. Rings of Power scratched an itch I wanted more than I needed more Game of Thrones.
Yes, because we have gotten Game of Thrones before. That's totally fair.
And like
true.
And like for me, I needed that, and I didn't necessarily need the show. I'm not upset to have the show. I just didn't need it at this moment in time. I like it overall. I think it has flaws in just structure, and I guess there were no good answers to it. But it is what it is. I think there's some missteps, but overall a strong season.
Yeah, I especially after, we talked about it before. Can Game of Thrones come back after what they did to it? And I say yeah. Like I think like the writing, and the acting is still top notch. Like it is still HBO quality. The show looks great. They are trying to do a lot in a 10-episode season, which is the HBO standard. Did they pull everything off? Probably no, I don't think so. There are definitely some character arcs we probably could have got more of. But the characters that we do focus on and like the most central important aspects of what the show's trying to convey, I think they pull off beautifully. Like, I think our main characters specifically, I think Rhaenyra, Queen Alicent, Viserys, Otto, Daemon, I think they are 10 out of 10 bangers. I think most of the decisions they make, whether good or bad, I believe what they're doing. It makes sense to the characters. I love the new actors playing Rhaenyra and Alicent. I think they're stunning. Ooh, stunning. I think they're awesome. And I mentioned Viserys. Like, honestly, that's my favorite performance of the year is Old Man Viserys.
Yeah, he's
about
great.
like doing a lot with being like a frail old man. Man, like Viserys the peaceful, as he's known to be, despite not really doing shit. Viserys.
Yeah, he just edges out Matt Smith, who I think is doing the most with the least amount
Yeah,
of words.
he's a big leaner. He loves to lean.
Yeah,
Loves a JoJo stand. Yeah.
he does. Let's just dive right into it. Like episode 8, where the actor's name, who I can't remember, the guy who plays Viserys,
Paddy Considine.
Yeah, Paddy Considine. Every time, and like George R. R. Martin tweeted it, Ryan, you retweeted it. Everyone was talking about the man deserves an Emmy just for that episode alone. I wholeheartedly agree. Episode 8, where we see Viserys like completely just decrepit, and I love how he plays him. Like, well, obviously when we first see him in the first half, he's mostly fine, maybe a few cuts, and it's nothing major. We get to the time skip. Dude's missing an arm.
Oh yeah.
Dude is in very visible pain. And as the season and as the rest of the show, I thought he was gonna die episode 6.
Yeah, when he falls over during the wedding. Yeah.
Is that episode 6 or is that episode 5? I think that's episode 5 because that was the end of the
That's before
kids.
the time jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on that. I think that's a good bridge right there. That is one of my time gap things. I find I thought that was an interesting way. I'm not saying this is bad, but an interesting way to close out that time jump moment, because like a lot of people came away from that episode assuming Viserys would die there. It does like make his health very clear. It's just interesting, like in point of structure, to have that be the end of the episode, and it's like, no, but he's gonna be around for like, another good 15 years or so.
It is an interesting cliffhanger.
Yeah,
because it is if you don't know the source material, like you would assume,
right?
It's very pointed, like, yo man, this seems like the end.
For show people just coming to the season, they're definitely going, and that's it. That's the end of it.
And honestly, like, this is just me like grasping at like some straws that I could pull. Like, that is when Viserys did die. Honestly, because after that, like, everyone else is taking control of his life for the rest of his life.
Sure, that's a good point.
Yeah, and like I thought of that just now. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was pretty good. That is like the last time he realized any real power, because then Otto just takes over.
No, not yet, because that's also the episode where he gets rid of Otto. So episode 6, when we come back, he spent all that time with
Lord Strong.
Lionel Strong.
Oh, what a good dude.
Name, yeah. Lionel Strong as his hand, and in theory, like, some pretty solid years there before like the Alicent and Rhaenyra over her children thing bubbles to its crescendo, but otherwise, like, he's kind of still got it. Like, he's kind of keeping it, not that he suddenly became a better king.
No, yeah.
But to be honest, he probably managed like the day-to-day a little better with Lionel as his
that's
hand.
true. There's that scene where he's like looking over at his kids like, oh, this is the stuff, Lionel.
Yes, yeah, when he's out there watching them training before Harwin.
My boys what's better than dudes being dudes?
Yeah. So not quite. I would say not quite the death of Viserys there.
Yeah.
I think that if he were to label like his golden moment as king post Emma's death, it would probably be that section of time right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good moment.
Where he thinks everything's kind of handled.
He's like almost just like blinded, like he doesn't even think about it, because like he says, "Oh, I love you, Emma," to Alicent at one point, and I'm like, "Oh, this dude's like, he's not there as much as he needs to be."
Right.
Yeah, his slow descent and like the mix of practical effects and like CGI, because obviously like when he takes his shirt off and stuff, like he's got a bunch of holes in him, and like, yeah, that's a real skinny dude. That's some Captain America shit happening.
There's a lot of positive stuff I want to get into, so I want to clear like my overall negative takeaways first. So for me, it is that, and I was just thinking about it now, and I'm like, I think I get why the season ends where it does, why they wanted to get to that point. There is a part of me that feels like 10 episodes could have ended with Viserys' last breath before our last 2, and the next season picks up with the joint different location coronations. It's not technically kicking you off into that Dance of Dragons setup thing.
Not as clearly.
But like you're left in that lurch of like, you know it's going to pop off the moment that his last breath is gone. And the point of that conversation topic being, Ben, that I kind of felt like I wanted more episodes in general, because like everybody that Ryan named earlier, they're wonderfully fleshed out characters. There's a lot of sideline people I wish I'd had more time with. Corlys, frankly, I kind of wish I had more time with him and Laenor and Laena before they were gone.
I'll bring up Corlys when he's like off screen and he's like sick and stuff. Like I expected him just to be off screen. I did not expect him to like come back.
Yeah.
I think it might have been better if he'd have stayed off screen, because it could have focused more on Rhaenys and stuff. Whereas when Corlys comes back, he's just like another kind of like reiterating the same things he's always stated, despite it being years and years and years that this has happened.
Yeah, I think I just, I would say like just their whole family unit is one I would have liked more time with. I would have liked, even if you don't really want to show the moment where Laena claimed Vhagar before, because you're going to do the moment with Aemond and you don't want to do repetition, even if those moments could be very different. I still think like some development of who she is, what made her a person who was able to do that, is stuff I would have liked to have seen in the show, because she come and goes, especially in her aged up form.
Yes.
With Daemon, we get her for literally a single episode. That's a character and a person I want to know better, because for me, like a big takeaway is like, in terms of what it means for our main characters, the characters I'm super invested in, I understand the weight of the deaths, and that makes me care about the narrative points of them. I'm not as endeared to all of the characters that are taken away, because I don't know them well enough.
Yeah, I will agree with you on Laena. The fact that, she's introduced, like reintroduced, and then in the same episode she's killed off. I'm like, that is pretty fast. I think of all the deaths, that is the one that I'm like, that seems a little quick.
Yeah.
That seems a little...
Yeah.
There are definitely a bunch of characters who get aged up multiple times throughout the show, but I think hers is definitely the one that gets the least amount of respect due.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I will agree with that one. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's just a thing the show struggles with, and that I struggled with as an audience member, like listening to a podcast, The Ringerverse, which if you want really good House of the Dragon coverage, they do too many hours of it.
Hell yeah.
But if I wasn't listening to that, I would have had a harder time keeping track of certain people, how they're engaging with each other through time, just because I don't feel like the show was giving me quite everything I needed in that regard. And specifically like with our kids, who are going to be the focal point of the Aegon and Aemon and Helena and Jace and Luke and then Daemon's kids coming in and all this kind of stuff. Oh, like I kind of want to know what Daemon's relationship has been like with Rhaenyra's boys from the Strongs. Like there is no familiarity between them. Yes, and
there is a deleted scene that we know of, because we see something from the trailers of him interacting with them.
Yeah,
that just cut from the show, and I'm like, I agree. I would have liked to see more, and I'm sure obviously we'll get more of that in the future. But now spoiler, like one of the kids is gone.
One of them
now.
is gone. Yeah.
So like
that's the thing is like, I know that these kids, what kind of path these kids are heading on, and like I want to care more about them, even the ones that are maybe are bad guys and are slimy, which the show very much skews you to wanting to root against the Greens.
Yeah.
But I feel like I need a little bit more. It's really a testament to what I think they've done well with the show, is that I just wanted more time of what they were doing, because I think some of these actors that they cast are very talented, like Ty Tennant, who plays Aegon before the final age up. So in those 2 episodes in between, that's David Tennant's son.
Yep.
Playing Aegon. And I think he's really great. And it's one of those things where like I kind of wouldn't have minded. I wouldn't have minded like another episodes worth of that time period of these kids and how they interact with each other in different dynamics amongst their parents, including like we get an idea of the fact that Viserys is clearly an absent father when it comes to these boys, but like getting some more acknowledgement from them of how that relationship is while Viserys is still in the picture is something I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah.
So all these kinds of little moments, I think, like, there's a lot of sideline characters I just kind of wanted fleshed out more. And I wouldn't have even minded, like, one more episode still before we went to this full, further older cast with our younger cast. I think there were still some relationships in that early half of the season, too, that I would have liked to have seen expanded a little more. So it's one of those things where, like, I think they did a really good job. I wouldn't have hated a 13-episode season. I think you could have hit the same plot point and fleshed out a lot of characters so that not that we want to draw too many comparisons to Game of Thrones, but like there's so many small minor characters that I get. They give you such a full breadth of who they are and what they want and how they are connected to each other and what the relationships are and how that matters. And like you take so much time with that. And because this is the season, take your time, build all this stuff. I think that I just wanted a little bit more of that foundation laid. Whether that was pushing Viserys' death to be the end of the season, keeping it 10 episodes, or going to 13.
It's super interesting because this coming from a book, which is a series of stories from unreliable narrators. What they decided to expand on and what they decided not to, because like the stuff with the triarchy and like the war in the triarchy, that's like a one sentence thing that happens, right? And that they're expanding on exponentially. So it's very interesting that like who they decided was important and who's not important.
Specifically, like with the triarchy, the fact that like. Yes, they expand on it in the early part of the season, and then after that, it's like just a sense that, like, yes, they're still out there. We're still fighting them.
There's the great
6
line.
years on,
yeah.
And then, like, Viserys has the great line later where he's like, when he's in his like super addled state, they're like, yes, we're still fighting the triarchy over in the Stepstones, and he's like, I'm confused. That war ended.
I thought we beat them years ago. And Daemon looks so ashamed, like, no,
I have the crab feeder's crown.
Yeah. And that just goes.
I was crowned king of the narrow sea. What's going on? It's like, you guys messed up.
Sorry, bro. It's been a couple years with Viserys. Yeah. You're on milk of the puppy. Gosh. So yeah, we got all the greens. We got Alicent's slow descent into becoming Otto Hightower Jr., which I love. Man, the mishearing of the prophecy that Aegon should be king, and she's just like, what was that? Oh no, yeah, I definitely heard that. Oh, definitely. Like, come on, girl, you know you didn't hear that. And she knows it, and she knows it.
So I think that's a really good segue into, I think, the best thing about the show, and the absolute best thing about the show is the reframing of the show through a female gaze, and that truly this show is about these two women, Alicent and Rhaenyra, who are trapped in the machinations and decisions of the patriarchy, and are, whether they are conscious of it or not, or like taking big actions in that direction or not, are constantly forced to do things and make decisions inside the confines of that structure.
Yep.
And I think that part, the fact that like what the show did a really good job, because the book doesn't do this, and I know this just from people talking about the book, and what it did is it made them the main characters in a way where I think that doesn't come across the same way.
Yeah.
If you take a different stroke to it, but it really centralized that, like, this is about the fact that Alicent was forced into this position and Rhaenyra was in a way forced into her position, and these are the paths that they have to walk, trying to both kind of be free of things they didn't want. Like, I don't think Rhaenyra is truly content with the path she's led until she becomes a mother.
Yeah.
Which is that because it's something that she lives in fear of, and
Romano,
and doesn't think can be a good thing until she has a loving relationship with Harwin Strong, and has boys who she truly loves.
Yeah.
And I think that reorients that character, but like you look at Alicent, and Alicent is disgusted by her first son, Aegon. Both her and Viserys are clearly terrible parents. And very, very estranged and removed from their children in a big way. Their children are, to Alicent, pawn pieces, and to Viserys, non-existent. Which is sad. But it's a very clear, like, I don't think there's any better line in the whole show this season than when Rhaenys in the second to last episode tells Alicent that like you're not taking power, you're just trying to build a window in the wall of your prison here.
Oh, it's so good.
And that's really accurate, and you feel that, and you feel for Alicent even as you disagree with things that Alicent is doing, and even at times I disagree with what Rhaenyra does, but you feel for them and you understand what position they're in, and the fact that they've centered that female battle within this system is so good, especially in light of like a really poorly handled version of Daenerys at the end of Game of Thrones.
100%. God, I can't wait for that final book to come out because George, I can't imagine what George has been feeling the last couple of years for those last couple seasons. Man, yeah, talking about Rhaenyra, her slow descent into love with her uncle husband, which started at a very young age, so that's, Targaryen ways as it is. Actually really sweet, and they actually like belong together, and they actually like love each other. Despite Daemon still being crazy enough to put his arms around her, like to assault her.
Oh, when he grabs her to choke her?
Yeah, when he learns that...
When he pulls a Shinji?
Yeah, when he pulls a Shinji, yeah, when he learns that Viserys was hiding something from him, and, like, that was his brother. Like, he was supposed to be, like, his number one, right? And, like, he hit something. I'm like... And he goes.
Do you think that's why he's choking her?
Yeah, that's my read, is that, like, he thought he knew everything about his brother, and he was keeping this from her.
So my read... Well, I want to hear Ben.
Well, my read from that is that he's angry because at one point in time he was the heir to the throne, and then when Rhaenyra is telling him about the Song of Ice and Fire, she realizes that
he doesn't know it.
Viserys never knew that. I'm assuming to shit. What's his name? Matt Smith.
Daemon.
Daemon. Why the hell did I blank on Daemon's name? Yeah. So to Daemon. That says that Viserys never once acknowledged him as the true heir.
Well, he doesn't want it though. Daemon's never wanted the throne though. That's the whole thing.
Daemon could take the throne if he wanted to. He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He wants to have. He cares about Targaryen legacy. He cares about their history, and he cares about their future. And as Targaryens, that's what his priority is. His priority is keeping that strong. But it doesn't matter who's on the throne.
Yeah.
As long as they are correctly a Targaryen. My read on that is that I think Daemon chokes her out in that moment, which is unacceptable. But I do think the reason that he does it is because it's that he's triggered by her talking about his vision, because he hated the visions. This was his whole thing. He didn't like that Viserys believed in this dragon magic stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Daemon's whole angle is that power is just wielding the dragons like tools. It's not about this mystical, prophecy doesn't matter.
Oh, that's why he says dragons the line, matter. Yeah, it's like, we have power because of the dragons, not because of some magic or something.
Right, exactly. And that's a polar opposite opinion to Viserys, who said, like, we never should have trifled with dragons. That was a mistake. And, like, he doesn't care about the vision, because, like, even if Viserys had told him, the reason Viserys doesn't tell him is because he knew Daemon wouldn't care. Daemon doesn't believe in this stuff.
Yeah.
Daemon doesn't even like Viserys indulging in it, because he feels like Viserys got completely distracted by being fascinated with the wrong thing.
That's 100% right, because then he sees that the next person on the Iron Throne would be just like his brother.
It would be just like his brother, exactly. Yeah. And he thought Rhaenyra was much more like him, because up to this point, Rhaenyra has expressed herself to him in all the scenes we see of them.
Yeah.
As that person, as the person who wants to take charge and utilize the dragons and utilize that power and isn't afraid of it. This is the only case where she brings up vision stuff because of what he showed her.
It's a good point. That's a very good read.
I think that's the main reason that Daemon. I think it's just absolute like upset disappointment that he's like, no, I don't want you to be this. I don't want you to be like him. You're supposed to be stronger.
No, that is 100% the read. I think. Yeah. And you see Daemon out in the dragon fields, mining out dragons out of these goopy sacks. 3 dragons, my beautiful baby, like 3 dragons. Like, oh, you're proud, Dad.
You know how entrenched he is in the history of it. We get in this finale him going and singing the lullaby in the cavern
to the
big
second biggest dragon alive right now. Dance with the dragons, baby, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So he can't be claiming that dragon because you can only claim a single dragon. But he might be binding it.
I don't remember what the ringer said, but there's something.
It's dragon binding.
It's dragon binding.
That he's binding it so that they'll like it's kind of like hurting them until they can have an owner, but like making sure that the flock is contained.
Yeah. He'll just save it until somebody can use it.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
Like a reinforcement.
Speaking of dragons, as much as I don't like Aemond, that fight when he takes Vhagar, the big dragon, his first fight with that dragon was pretty badass.
Beautiful. Yeah. It was a beautiful scene.
That was beautiful. I have to say that was beautifully shot, and you can just seeing that dragon alive. It's like this. I love about the show. You could feel the weight of these dragons.
It's specifically with Vhagar, like more than any other dragon. Like it's like watching a giant, like a Godzilla. Like the way he slowly like pushes down. Like it's like, damn, that's a big boy.
I don't know if you saw it, either of you, but they said that like the team working on it, they're not that they were one-to-one adapting it, but their main inspiration was the final fight in the first How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. That definitely makes sense for that final encounter with Luke. Man, that is such a brutal scene, not just because of what happens, but little baby Luke and his little baby dragon just can't power through the storm. And then you got the shadow above.
Yeah.
There's multiple shots of Vhagar looking like the dopest a dragon has ever looked. Whether it's him outside the castle or him, or in the skies above Luke.
Nah, dude. The second Vhagar raised her head when Luke showed up to Storm's End, I'm sitting there going, Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
I was sitting there going, go back home. Yep.
Bad vibes.
I would have touched down, saw Vhagar, go, nope.
The ball.
Get back on the dragon.
The ball's on that kid, man. Like,
just get the F out of there right now.
I would have gone home and been like, I'm sorry. They were there.
Yeah.
So we got to come up with a better offer.
It's so sad because like, Rhaenyra sends him on the shortest distance away. Like it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. You'll be back before you know it. No big deal. Heavy thunderstorms, bigger dragon. The people don't like you when you arrive. Like, oh, there's nothing you could have done, little guy. Oh, it's so sad. And Aemond doesn't mean to do it, which is even worse because now he's the reason the whole war's starting. And he's a goofball. He's a big anime goofball.
Yeah, I think that. There's something, because like the book version doesn't do this. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say that. It never clarifies whether Aemond
did it on purpose
or not. It does say, like, there is something that references like this was not the plan that he went there with, obviously, because like he didn't know Luke would be there.
Yeah.
But whether it was on purpose or not is not clear. But like this tragedy of the dragons getting out of their control, which again, like, going back to Viserys' thing, like dragons aren't power we should never have trifle with. They're both playing with animals. Mm-hmm. And the fact that that's the just like the unfortunate tragedy of Alicent misunderstanding Viserys, like, which is like, okay, I guess we had to give Alicent enough of an excuse for her to still be slightly empathetic and likable, because like in the book, Alicent is on all records, at least of the book accounts, is 100% like this was the intention one way or another. It's even hinted that like she could have poisoned Viserys just as Daemon suspected.
Yeah.
Going back to the dragons, during that fight where the little dragon just comes over to Vhagar and starts spewing fire at her, you do hear JCL, no, listen to me, because Luke is like, no, stop. So it could be that obviously Aemond didn't want it. He was just like toying with them, like
both of them. Both of them are shouting to their dragons, trying to get them under their control. Yeah, and both of them fail.
And it's the dragons who take matters into their own claws, with Vhagar having a little bite, a little dragon snack.
Right, because Luke would have just tried to get away if he had control of Arax. 100%. I don't think he would have gone up and blown up in Vhagar's face, and he might have disappeared.
Yeah, how... it's not in the show, but how they find out this happens is like pieces of the dragon show up on the shore of where they just were. And then the Lord's like, I gotta send a message. I gotta let him know. This is about to be real bad, though. We have more to talk about, but I do want to talk about like the final shot of the slow down the walk of table of Daemon, just like knowing what he has to tell his wife, and the slow turn of her, and I'm like, man, that's a good way. That's a spicy way to end your show. I love it. It got me real pumped that we have to wait a long time now, but like, I think I do agree we could have used more to flesh out the season, but I do love the way the season ended. I think it is a great like season finale of television, especially like the two-parter of like you get the entire green perspective in episode 9 and then the entire black perspective in episode 10.
Very smart.
So every character can have as much that they could do in each per episode. And I thought that was a really, really smart decision. And like so much stuff happens in those last 2 episodes. Like, oh my God, remember how Kristen Cole at the beginning of the show was like Mr. Suave, handsome guy? Look where this mother effer is now. The grossest man on the planet and the leader of the Kingsguard.
I want to punch him in his face so damn bad. Like the second that after Viserys died, and then Lionel Lannister starts talking, was like, "So can we now put our long plans into motion?" And that one dude just stands up and says, "No, screw all
Beasley."
And he gets smacked into the table and dies instantly. It's like, oh no, F you.
Rest up, Beasley. Old man Beasley.
Dies on the small balls.
Yeah, those little tiny balls.
I don't think there's any better example of like where I think we needed to maybe spend a little more time with some of the families and some of these characters than the fact that Alicent and Viserys have a 4th child that is currently alive and about 10 years old that we don't see.
Yeah,
they are alive, they have said, and they'll show up at a later point in the show, but they were currently alive right now.
This is a book character who, again, if you're not paying attention to it, this information is not going to even be necessary to you until that kid shows up in season 2. But there is just another kid.
But it is bizarre that like
there's an entire kid that they just left out of the season, and I don't know why.
The only way you would know that they have a 4th child is because they did put the 4th child's signet in the last
in the titles.
episodes of the credits. But other than that, nothing in the show will tell you there's a 4th child.
Like again, like I haven't read the book, so I don't know how much that kid would be necessary. Like if he would just have been another name with not a lot to do, then maybe it's best he was left out of the series. Honestly,
for sure.
Like, but I don't. But you know,
it's not necessarily me saying like, oh, it's a character we needed to know.
Yeah,
but it's certainly a character that it's weird we're not aware.
We're gonna meet a kid, in a year. Like oh, this is the son of the dead king from last year,
which I think just shows like a lack of clarity on who's on the board and how many. This is the one other part that references is Daemon says that they have 4 dragons.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But like you technically don't know who that 4th person belongs to if you're watching the show because they have not told you.
That is an interesting. There's just a secret 4th child,
which is again like just some things we could have used time with. I already had a long conversation with you about this, so I will just briefly touch on it here because I do think it's a strong point I feel deeply about. But we go from episode 6 to episode 7. Laena dies, then the next episode is Laena's funeral. Between that time, Lionel Strong also died, the Hand of the King, and so that the replacement is going to be Otto. My thing was that Otto is just suddenly the Hand of the King again. At least, like regardless of book stuff, like at least for the show, it was a very important between Viserys and Rhaenyra decision that he made to cast Otto out. So bringing him back in, he knows is going to create a rift. And I wish we had more insight into what made Viserys make that choice. I was saying to Ryan, like, to me, the decision to bring Otto back makes more sense if it happens after she marries Daemon, something he didn't want her to do. And then it's kind of like if you're going to disrespect me, I'll disrespect you kind of attitude thing. But the fact that, like, Otto's just there and there's no character stuff about what that means to their relationship, because that was a big thing for her. That was like he was going to not have a relationship with her if he kept Otto around. That was a thing. And bringing him back is just like, and he's back. Because the show needs it, because the story needs it, but that wasn't given a moment I felt was lacking in the show.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Ben? Because I don't
Otto?
On Otto coming back like unceremoniously. I do agree with Sparkz, but it is one of those things where like the show gave me enough where like I get why he comes back, but like it could have used further development. But like I didn't have a problem with it, so I'm just curious how you felt about that.
I didn't have a problem with it either. I want to say it was Alicent kind of whispering sweet nothings into Viserys' ear to make him Hand of the King again.
Yeah,
I'd agree with you, but this is the same episode where she demands a kid's eye for her child's eye Viserys' son's eye, and Viserys doesn't listen to Alicent whatsoever, because Viserys never listens to Alicent at this point in time, is what's implied. So I really can't buy that. It's just Alicent whispering in his ear. You see, like, this is the thing, is that's a big choice for him to make, and they do a good job of showing that Viserys prioritizes his relationship with Rhaenyra over his relationship with Alicent at this point in time. He cares more about her kids, especially when she has kids with Daemon. He cares more entirely about their line. He literally still refers to Rhaenyra later in the episodes as his only child. So the fact that, like, considering how much he idolizes Rhaenyra in his mind, that he wouldn't have some mitigations, that someone wouldn't have to push him in a certain direction more than just Alicent. Something wouldn't have to push him to make that call to bring Otto in. That is an important shift. Like, none of what happens in our finale episodes happens if Otto isn't back in that position of power. That's a huge thing, and to just skip over, like, how Viserys came back to that decision is a little odd. I think in a more not trying to do so many accomplishment season, we would have definitely gotten that moment. It's a moment I would have liked to have.
I do see what you're saying, but at the same time, it didn't necessarily bother me, because I knew that when the Strongs died, when what's his name, Larys Strong.
Larys is the evil one. It's Lionel who's passed away.
Yeah, I'm talking about Larys, the evil guy.
Okay, yeah.
Like, the second he starts talking about, he sets those people, like his bugs or whatever, to go burn down Harrenhal, to kill his dad and his brother so he could become the lord of it. And because the second that happens, I'm like, I knew Otto Hightower was going to become Hand of the King again. It's like,
yes, because that's what story wise makes sense. But like, Viserys, why does Viserys say that's okay? And it would have been a good opportunity, especially, like, going back to the Alicent thing, if Alicent use what power she did have and thought this is more important than this thing, and he's already shown he won't do this thing, to say, I will literally never bother you about her kids again. I will literally never go down the avenue of saying those aren't her Laenor's kids. I will never bring that up. Put my dad back as Hand of the King. Now that makes some sense. Alicent has been a driving force of keeping that rumor, which is true, but around. So he gets something from that, and that would, like, I can explain that in my brain if I think about it for a while, but it would have been nice to have it, because, like, especially because when you get to the next episode, right, when he's at that point where he's turning on Aemond, and he's like, who told you these slanderous things to call them bastards and everything, and he's doing everything in his power to not look at his mom.
Yeah.
Then that feels really prescient, because she just made that arrangement with him to get Otto back. And if it comes out that, like, she's been saying this to her kids, that's going to be a real rift.
It would be a rift.
Yeah. Anyway, all the things I'm talking about that are around what I'm talking about the absence of are really good. Those are really good scenes. It's all the more reason why I want more of the in-between moments, not so many off-screen occurrences.
No, I'll agree with that, yeah. I could always want more, baby. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the drama there is no shortage of drama in this show, but one of the things I must say, it kind of pulled a fast one on us with Lauren Valerian, or Valerian.
Laenor.
Yeah, Laenor.
Mr. Buzzcut.
Yeah, that guy. Because when Daemon and Rhaenyra are plotting, I guess,
having sex on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. And because they're like, and then they essentially plan Laenor's death, but then we see him with his haircut, and him and Carl's like, oh, he's not dead. I'm actually relieved, because I like that character. I mean, we see him at his low. Obviously, when his sister dies, he's he's like inconsolable. And then when he goes to Rhaenyra, he's like, I will be a better dad. I will do all this. And she's like, we know you're not cut out for this. I got an idea.
Yeah.
So that was the one time in the show, because normally when you see a character that you like, oh, they're going to die. Something horrible is going to happen to them. Something's going to change their character drastically. It's not going to end well. I mean, it sucks for the parents, because I actually do like Rhaenys and Lord Corlys.
I feel like they could have told them. I feel like Daemon and Rhaenyra could have told them.
I get why, because like even if it's your closest family, one one person who knows a secret is a secret that's out, no matter how safe it is.
Mm-hmm.
So like with how high stakes this is, I understand it.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra probably want to, but Daemon is like, you can't, and like she'll agree to what he says.
Kind of a moment I would like to see, especially if that was in the later episode when she's referencing like talking about Rhaenys and saying like they think we killed her, that we had her son killed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she might be more on our side if we told her the truth, and Daemon shutting her down, because I do think an important differentiation is that Rhaenyra loves her kids. Rhaenyra loves being a mom, and so does Rhaenys. Rhaenys loves her kids, and her grandkids. And Alicent doesn't, and that's a big separation point between them.
And it's funny because
except Helena, I think Alicent does love Helena.
Helena seems like the totally normal. I mean, despite like marrying your brother, the king kind of
and
thing,
speaking in riddles,
and being like maybe like a dream lady or whatever. But like.
No, she is like, you know what she is? She's the least problematic of the
so far
of the kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, true. So far.
Yeah.
But I would say that's the undercurrent of Rhaenyra, and so caring that much about being a mom, that's why like them not letting them in on it is a little bit like this is a show invention to let us in on that idea. That it was a plan from Rhaenyra and Daemon, and not Laenor actually being killed.
Yeah, in the books, they just like he dies, and everyone thinks it's them. Like it is a show invention that he survives. Which,
so there's a theory. There's also a theory that Laenor might come back as a differently named character later in the book, and that he'll have been that person in disguise. Because there's some things that would explain the appearance of this person who's able to ride on dragons and all this kind of stuff that comes up later. Because of the context of the show and how they've utilized black people as being representative where they are, it would be hard for me to buy that being able to be pulled off as easily without direct questions and recognition.
I would say, like, I think most people would recognize a white dreaded man flying a dragon. Like, is that the guy who used?
Well, like even if he keeps his shaved head, yeah. You know, I think it was a smart decision because this is not stated in Fire and Blood. Like the curiosities about the strong children is all the more prescient when their father is black.
When their father's killed.
I was gonna say when their father's black, and so questioning their identity becomes all the more like in the book, by the standards of the book, like to me compared to the show, it's like, well, it's all really circumstantial. I think you're really stretching. Like it's mostly based off the fact that they don't have true blonde hair.
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck? You know, like, what does that mean? And then you go here and it's like, well, they're very white.
The scene with Vaemond, the brother, when he goes to court to try to like become king of Driftmark.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, these kids do not look like me. Like everyone in the court knows it.
And so like what's great about that is that it again is like underlining what the show is about, right? Because Vaemond's right. Like they are not of his line. His line should not pass to people who are not of it. It's a bad look to have a black family just kind of like lose all its power to a white family superseding into its place. He's totally right.
Yeah.
But he should be advocating for Baela, one of Daemon's children, to take the throne. He's not. He's not doing that because he wants it.
He's greedy.
And he won't put a female in power.
Yeah.
He doesn't want Rhaenys to do it. He doesn't want Baela to do it.
Yeah.
He wants to do it. That's more important than his family line, regardless of what he says.
Yeah, he says he's all about family line, like Daemon is, but Daemon actually cares about the line and doesn't care who's on the throne. Whereas Vaemon's like, it should be me.
Because that would have been a different discussion if they're talking about putting Baela on the throne of Driftmark.
Somebody of Driftmark, like actual royalty. Yeah.
That's something where even Rhaenyra would be like, honestly, I'd rather it did pass to Baela at some point. She loves those girls, which is awesome.
And
she's a great
and
stepmom.
She would still get married to one of her sons, so there'd still be that connection. So it'd still be copacetic.
Something else like I really like about our last episodes is that you've got this like again like underlining what it means to try to be feminist in this kind of system, and like Alicent's is performative, if it's even there at all.
Oh yeah.
Because her whole trying to convince Rhaenys argument is like, you know, we might not be able to take the power, but we can guide the men that have power.
Yeah.
And Rhaenys is like, Jesus Christ.
You hear yourself?
Like
She's just sitting there like, bitch, I got a dragon parked out right out front. I could just hop on that, burn all y'all. That ain't, it's like, guide them? No, I have it.
Contrast that right to Rhaenyra putting seats at the table for her stepdaughters and Rhaenys, and putting women in the seats of power in her council. Like, that's not just about her. That is about women.
Yeah.
And women being in the places where decisions are made.
And like a Viserys, like, who might have not have been the best king, he is about peace, and he is about being like a good king. And that's what Rhaenyra wants to be too. She wants to be a good leader. It's just unfortunate that like literally the entire world doesn't want you to lead it. That's just a real big bummer. And again, like the shitty thing about like patriarchy of like, no matter how good a person you are, like some people just don't want you to be who you are just because you're a lady. And that's like, man, like
I think the show's done a really good job. Notably, this is the first show to have episodes written by women and directed by women, compared to Game of Thrones, which never had that. And it shows, we talked in our first batch about like the brothel scenes and how different it felt because it was through female gaze.
Yeah.
I think another part in these later episodes that really stood out to me is the episode about Diana, who was raped by Aegon.
Oh yeah, the maiden,
servant,
the servant lady, yeah.
And how that scene was handled, because you don't see the sexual assault. Because they learned their lesson, I suppose, from the rape of Sansa and how that went over.
You don't need
Instead of seeing the sexual violence, we hear about it. We spend time with the victim. We hear from the victim, and we spend time with Alicent and how she, again, supporting that system of patriarchy, right? Is like, I believe you and I hear you, but what would people think? Here, take this tea.
Yeah, and some money.
Yeah,
I believe you, but it didn't happen. Like,
yeah,
you're not solving the problem.
That's
here.
Very that managed to be a very like contemporary moment in this show. Like very one-to-one of what goes on today.
You bring up like the difference, like how Rhaenyra loves her children and Alicent doesn't. Alicent is still doing everything in her power to make her children the most they can be. And I'm like,
but she knows Aegon's shit.
She does, but she still wants him to be king. And I'm like, who are you even doing this for? Are you doing it for Viserys? Like, are you doing it for Otto? Who is she?
She's doing it because I feel like she's part brainwashed because the firstborn has to take it.
Yeah.
Well, and
that's why
she can't. She grew up with Rhaenyra as like who was going to be her queen, and like she's still, because she's Otto Hightower's daughter. She just can't see like what the future could be. She's still stuck in the past, building her own prison. Yeah.
It's still like I think that there's a point in episode 8 where she's kind of disagreeing with Otto. Like she doesn't want Aegon to be king. I truly think she wants Rhaenyra to be queen. Yeah. That just goes out the window when she decides to convince herself of what Viserys is saying and where things are already going with the people there. She's content to let the system run. But like, if you go back to like, it should be the firstborn thing, that's Rhaenyra, but she can't allow herself to like see the women in power future.
The thing is like Alicent just can't believe in a world where good can prevail. So like, yeah, she does have to be the person behind the scenes.
Makes sense, because her dad like forced her into
a marriage at 15.
A marriage at 15 by having her sexually seduce the king, her best friend's dad.
I'm just trying.
And then I don't think there was any slimier line out of Otto than when Alicent finally like challenges him and says, we're doing things my way because she got Aegon first.
The mom line?
He says, you look just like your mom, which is like reminding her of putting her in her mom's dress, like how he had that power over her.
Oh man,
it's so gross.
Yeah, Otto is he's so good. He is such a complex good villain, and it's like, because like obviously he wants power, but he's doing it. I do think he does have the realm's best interest in mind. He's just also a patriarchal asshole. It's the thing of like, I know what is right for the realm.
I don't think he does.
No?
I don't think he does.
Okay.
I think that they specifically showed us that in the early season, that what he really does care about power for the people that he wants to have power first.
Yeah.
Because you have what he recommends, and then you have what Lionel Strong recommends. And what Lionel Strong is directly recommending everybody can see is what's best for the realm.
That's true.
Marry Lena, and like, yes, she's 12. That would be weird, but is it the strongest thing for your families? Yeah. Is it the thing that Rhaenyra even understood made sense? Yes.
Otto did try to get her to marry a 2-year-old, so.
Right. Yes. To marry his son.
Oh.
Yeah, so that he could ensure his line's power.
Yeah.
I don't think Otto.
No,
does
you're right. No,
prioritize-
yeah, he's all about. Yeah, he's all.
Not
about
only that, we know Otto knows about the fucking kids fighting in King's Landing.
with their filed
He knows
teeth?
about it.
Oh my god.
That's the whole thing. He's been letting it run rampant. He's known about it this whole time. He doesn't give a shit.
Aegon has kids running around everywhere, just blonde children, just like fighting in the pits. Like, what a family!
Yeah, and
What a family.
he doesn't care about that, and he only has to do something about it because Massaria takes a very lofty promise from Otto that I'll go look into it, I guess, and decides to give back Aegon over that lofty word from Otto.
I need. What is your opinion on the Grey Worm and her mother effing accent? Because
we talked about it a bit in the first half.
oh my god, her fake Jamaican French accent, it drives me. It didn't drive me as much before, but now like it is it's so unreal.
I am just so happy we don't hear it as much.
Oh, it's so bad.
Because my lord, that's just like.
So my understanding is that this character goes very far into the story, and it's such a shame because I have nothing against the character, nor really the actress. I don't blame her for this. I blame the people who listened to it and said that's good.
Yeah,
and that's what we want.
I like the idea of having like a little finger of the streets. You know, someone who has their eyes and ears everywhere. Like, I like that idea, and like that character just. I don't want to.
Well, she's less like Laris is more like Littlefinger. She's more like
Varys.
Thank you.
Varys. That's his name. I missed that guy.
She's more like Varys, just outside of the castle.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, she has her little. She's the one who starts the little birds thing.
Yes.
Kinda. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but because she has like spies and eyes and ears all over the place. I mean, yeah, the accent is actually absolutely atrocious. But beside the point, when she gives up Aegon, I'm just like, just let him rot. Just let him rot. Just let him rot. Just chuck him into the Blackwater Bay. Just let him rot.
Well, it's that she also does it for like a nothing promise, and then later someone burns her house down.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I assume she lives.
She has to have known this was coming if she's this smart, right? Like, she knew Otto was going to do something about it.
But like, why is that the amount that you would take from Otto? Like, I would take something else, some other kind of like something before I would give up Aegon. Yeah.
I mean, maybe she's just that powerful. Yeah.
I mean, of course, this is from a fan outside looking in. If I were to sit down at a negotiation table with a man by the name of Otto Hightower, I'd stab him in the face right at the get-go. Consequences be damned. I am not dealing with this dude.
No, she just like all the other characters, she has her own probably long-term goal of how she's wants to.
I'm sure she does. It's just like that seems like a low bad end deal to give him the access to the future king.
Yeah.
I mean, when someone says I'll look into it, even by today's standards, it's kind of like language for like I'll look into it. It's like I'm not gonna check on it. I'm just gonna let bygones be bygones. I'm gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
No, and then I had a point to go through and I completely lost it. God damn it.
Can we talk about the twins, who I didn't realize were twins for like half the show?
Eric and Ark.
Yeah, Eric and Ark. One's got the full beard and one's just got the goatee, and I didn't realize they were different until like way later that I should.
Eric is the one who does most things.
Yeah.
And brings the crown to Rhaenyra.
Yeah, he's the good one. He's
super
the cool
good
one.
moment.
He's the great one.
He's a good boy.
But I'm glad you brought them up. What I wanted to segue to, because we were talking about informants, and I said his name is Laris. We gotta talk about Laris.
Oh, Mr.
We gotta
Footsie?
talk about the feet fetish.
Oh, the Quentin Tarantino direct this episode, y'all. Come on.
It's nice to know House of the Dragon can still surprise you.
Yeah.
Talk about surprise. Once again, surprises. We talked about a good surprise where Lauren is still alive and he's living his best life with his hot boyfriend. Cool.
Laenor.
But then Laenor starts with an L.
I know.
There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of names, and some of them.
We're doing great.
Some people have the same name more times than
Not only that, there have been times where I've been finishing watching episodes like say 6 or say like 7 and 8, and I'm trying to talk to Fanny about what happened, and we can't remember the exact family tree or the complete clusterfuck that is the family tree of the Targaryens.
There's a lot of Aegons.
Stop naming your kids Aegon, goddammit. Anyways, back to the surviving strong. Oh.
Yeah, and it's super gross because clearly it's not the first time this has happened because he has a meeting with Otto and he's like, "You're spending a lot of time with my daughter," and he says, "Yeah, it could help you too, you know."
Right. Yeah,
and it's that's a power move, baby.
I don't want to kink shame anybody.
Listen, we watch Andor.
Look,
and everything,
you like your feet stuff. That's okay. This is feet stuff. That's extortion. Yep. Allison does not want to do it. Not consensual. It's happening, but it's not consensual.
No, yeah.
It's not the foot fetish thing that bugs me. It's the fact that it is the foot fetish thing that just got me feeling uncomfortable. Because obviously, because Allison is paying him in some way, shape, or form for killing the Strongs, doing all this other stuff.
Well,
and just the way he delivers his line is just so slimy. And then this happened.
Well, I assumed that the payment was his position of power. But she wanted more for information. Honestly, she should have sent him to the wall because somehow he couldn't inform her that everybody else on the council besides Beesbury was trying to pull a coup and had been planning it for months. What the because Laris failed her as an informant, so
I don't think that was on accident either.
I don't think it was either.
He's so shitty. He's too good at his job. He has Allison. He has the queen in his bag because of how good he is at his job and what he's able to do for her. And he has done so much now. Like, she has so many skeletons in her closet, she can't open that thing. She can only bury it deeper and deeper and deeper. And Laris is her graveyard keeper. Her foot fetish graveyard keeper. I'm like, it's only going to get worse.
Laris is the dude with the key and the lock with his hand ready to turn it. And he's like, I will let all this shit go unless you do X, Y, and Z for me.
And again, Allison she's unfortunately like in her own prison where like there is no escaping this. Like, she has to play the game that
again like surrounded by that male power.
Yeah,
even Laris has in a way more power than her.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
but like Laris, especially Laris, who's in a position. Laris is definitely the type of person to play the mind game, let others do his work, because he can't physically move, he can't fight because of his condition. But then it's just like the way he credit to the actor, because the way the actor presents himself when he's on screen, like the first time he shows up and starts talking to Allison, he's slimy. It's either
to the point where I was like, Allison, you a little dumb for falling for this.
Yeah.
In that first interaction, that very first time when he does that, and he like tells her,
I'm pretty sure when Littlefinger was reading the histories, he's like, this Laris guy, he has some good ideas.
I do hope she was feeling better after the tea. And it's like, Allison, you can't be this stupid.
He's so, that actor is so good, and it's such a great power move because like no one assumes he has power because it's all about physicality, right? It's all about being a big macho man. Whereas he has more power than a lot of these other people because of how many worms he has and how much information he has. Mm-hmm. And like he's like the safest person in the kingdom, if anything.
He's like, hey, like when he goes to the prisons, he's like, a lot of people sense to die tomorrow, but if you do something for me, you're gonna live.
Don't forget,
you gotta lose your tongue, of course, but you're gonna live. And then like, okay, because it's in that style thing where it's like a tongue is a small price to pay to not die.
And you bring up like I don't think she's necessarily paying him because now he's the Lord. He's Lord Strong. He's the Lord of a household. So like that dude's he's got more money than he probably even needs. He doesn't even care about money. He just cares about power and Allison's feet. Blech. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, it just makes me shudder. It just
again like something that makes you feel for Allison to an extent. But Allison had her olive branch moment, which was when Rhaenyra offered to marry Jace and Helena to each other, which we get their nice lovely dance moment. In episode 8, and you see like, that could have been a nice future.
Yeah, the episode 8 is my favorite episode because like not just because of Viserys' performance, but like everyone's at the table. It's the first time ever that everyone's together and everyone's happy. You see Otto doing some little claps, and you see Rhaenyra laughing at Daemon, and Viserys is just like dying slowly, looking at his family, and I'm just like, man, this is the best it's ever gonna get. This is the top, and it's only gonna go downhill from here. So I'm glad Viserys got to go out like that. Like it's a great ending for him because the rest of his family's about to kill each other.
Rhaenyra and Alicent, I think, truly are trying to reach across the aisle back to each other in episode 8.
Oh yeah.
And everything else around them will halt them from doing it, whether it's like, been the effect that their stigma has had on their children,
yep,
or the other people in their lives who are trying to drive that wedge further because they don't want them to get to connect with each other. It's
also
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna add to that because also Eamon is just a little shit because he just can't let it go.
I love him. He's that kid's 20 years old, right? So like he looks 78 to me. That dude looks like he's 40 years old, and that's like he's supposed to be playing like someone who's only a little bit younger, but that dude looks 40. And I was like, man, you are just the
anime villain, Ewan Mitchell.
Yeah, he's just anime villain. I love him. He has such a piercing eye. The one eye he has, he uses so well.
Yes.
Also, he has a cool sapphire eye, which is
I
fantasy
love
shit.
When he takes off his eye patch and revealed the fake eye below it, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Also, in the second time jump, and I want to say it was episode 6 or 7 ish.
Do you mean for this batch?
Yeah, for this batch.
The second time jump is into episode 8 because six goes into Lena's funeral in 7.
Yeah, so when he loses the eye,
and that's in 7.
Yeah, but when he looks at his mom, it's like, I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. Just power move. Just At first, I'm like, okay, this kid's cool. Next episode, never mind, this kid sucks.
Yeah, he turns straight up into a skinny anime villain. It's so funny that like everyone's cousins and uncles and brothers, like everyone's all related. They're the same age, but one's his uncle. I'm just like, man, the family's. I want to look at that tree. What's your tree look like?
I don't. I'm good.
Going back to like some of the kid stuff, like Ty Tennant as Aegon, when we get him in episode 6, masturbating out of the window in the tower. It's hard for me not to think that they heard about the deleted scene from The Boys, where he's jerking off above the city and says, "I could do whatever I want," and thought, well, we could do that. We're Game of Thrones.
Hell yeah.
Like, we can make that scene.
I don't know. I've been seeing the comparison online. I don't know if it is the same window that somebody jumps out and kills themselves in.
Oh, Tomlin.
Tomlin. It looks like the exact same spot. I'm like,
you're right. I thought that too. I thought that too when I saw it. I'm like, oh, God.
One's coming, one's going.
It's making me think of
That's Game of Thrones. Oh boy, that's a fun. We have fun here.
I think you broke Sparkz.
That was a good one. Hey, who? There's a lot of characters. Well, we could start slowly wrapping up here, but are there any more plot lines you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I definitely want to touch on when we talked about the early episodes. We talked about how powerful it was to watch affecting it was to watch the attempted birth and subsequent death of Emma.
Right. Oh yeah,
and then you go to Rhaenyra in this last episode and her stillborn birth, which
is the
one-shot
scene.
Rough, just like a rough emotional watch. Again, like really leaning your empathy towards Rhaenyra. Mm-hmm. What she loses in this day is so hard. Just super, like the way you see the baby and the fact that like it's her making herself wrap it for its funeral is really, really just effective. I think it really centralizes like what women can go through.
Yeah.
While it's not like, it's certainly like a more horrific interpretation, it is getting the point across of like, this loss of life, which is usually an off-screen mention in most.
And this is the second time we see her give birth, because like the first time
goes well.
She gives birth, and immediately Alicent's "Let me see the baby."
Yes,
which is like, let me see what color.
Which was
Joffrey. Yeah, the Joffrey. Let me see what color this baby is. Good job, Sir Lana. Maybe next time it'll look like you.
All the more sad it's not really mentioned clearly in this episode, but that this was going to be a daughter, and it was going to be Visenya, which is the name she picked out for her. What she's expected to be a sister when Emma gave birth to the son at the beginning of the show. So this was her kind of coming full circle on that name again.
That's lovely.
And losing it. And it's also really rough to watch Daemon not be able to be there for her.
Yeah.
In this moment. Like he's feeling something, but he refuses to allow himself to feel it with her.
Yeah, he's like in like a war meeting, just listening to her scream or whatever. Right?
Oh no, I'm thinking even apart from that, like when he walks up into the room when it's just happened and he can't bring himself to like go to her, but he goes out to the beach.
That's right.
Instead, and kind of like lets himself do his own sadness, but won't do it with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, they're so good. God.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Princess Rhaenys.
Hell yeah. She's so cool. I love her.
She's a great
love
actor.
how you cannot, like, especially in the not in the very first episodes, but when both Rhaenyra and Alicent try to bargain with her, especially Rhaenyra, because I was a little more tense. I'm thinking, oh no, this could mean Rhaenys wants to side with the Greens, especially when they're in the Godswood at King's Landing, and she tells, it's just like a very quick, like, she's like very sharp. She's very, very like short with Rhaenyra, and then turns a complete 180 and says, "Hey, she came up to me and said her boys should marry my granddaughters. I think that's a good idea." And I'm like, "What?"
You never. She's playing. She's playing the game so well because she also wants what's best for the realm, and I love it's always constantly everyone's like, you should have been queen. She's like, I didn't want it. I don't want it. It's not me. Y'all you gotta get over it. We gotta think about the future. Stop thinking about me. I love that.
But importantly, she doesn't want it now. She did want it then, and she does still want a future where women can take the throne and it's not scoffed at or an issue.
Yeah.
So regardless of her things with Rhaenyra, she does want Rhaenyra to do that. That is something she wants to see. And Alicent totally loses her with the way she goes about the pitch, because she's basically like, hey, fall back in line. Things won't change at all. Let's leave the guys in power. But hey, at least we'll be doing it together, and we can kind of guide them.
Girl power, right?
And that's just not the pitch to sell Rhaenys on. Not only that, but they locked her into her room.
Yeah,
so that's already going to lose her.
You should have thought of that.
She's too good for that shit. She'll be like, if I get out of your hair, you're never going to have me in your hair again.
Yeah.
Like, busting into the Sept of Baelor with her dragon in full
No. Busting up from the floor of the dragon pit.
Killing hundreds of people.
Killing 1,000 people.
Oh, yeah. That dragon pit
Maybe
was full.
not the best choice, I'll say. Probably making it pretty hard to convince the people of King's Landing that, yeah, we should side with Rhaenyra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not the best move.
Yeah, it's definitely...
It's a power move. Might not have been the best one.
Man, she really could have ended this whole show and just been like...
Even if you don't kill Aegon, just kill Otto.
Yeah.
Just kill Otto.
Do a dragon snort.
Not even that. Have the dragon eat Otto and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do respect... It is really, really funny that Rhaenys is like, I'm not the one going to start your war for you, but I did just kill 1,000 common people.
Yes, that's the thing. And I'm like, I don't know. You kind of did, didn't you? If they care about the people.
This is. I'm not going to say. The show doesn't flesh this out enough for, I would think, the for what other people expect. For me, and these are people who want power and do not give a shit about the people, the little people. Even the good people, even someone like Rhaenys, this is a kingdom of not her people. So to them, it's that room. I said it to you, that room might as well have been empty in her opinion. She might have killed 1,000 King's Landing people. It does not matter. Even the Greens, that doesn't matter to her. I don't think it should matter.
Well, it definitely doesn't matter to the Greens.
No, yeah, it should matter, but the Greens don't really care that these people died, and Rhaenys doesn't care that she killed these people. It probably should matter, but with what's happening on the screen, they're just not important.
I'm gonna say that I don't feel like we got to know Rhaenys in enough of a way for me to confidently say that she's one of those people who cares more about power than the good of the common folk, even if these aren't her people.
Yeah.
To say that's the stance I could take. I don't think there's enough material in the show for me to feel confident of that. What bothers me more is that Rhaenys is smart and knows this isn't going to help Rhaenyra or help the cause against this guy.
Yeah.
It's only going to make them look better in this moment. And that's the part that I'm like, she's just not that stupid to think that, they're not going to use this murder of 1,000 people. And I think you could have gotten across the same idea for her to be breaking away with the dragon without going about it in this direction of killing these people along the way.
I think the bigger problem is is that I don't think that scene was just probably a well-written scene. They weren't thinking about that because there are no consequences in episodes 9 and 10 of what happens. That happens in episode 8 or 9, right?
9, sorry.
9.
Yes.
Yeah, so sorry. So with 10, when Rhaenys goes to visit her, I doubt there are going to be any ramifications of those 1,000 people dying. You know what I mean?
I think there will be, and
I hope there are.
Here's the thing. I only say this because, like, listening to other podcasts, like, I know in the book that there is eventually a point where, like, the people kind of start to revolt against the Targaryens, all of them, on both sides, because of the Dragon War and how many casualties there are during the dragons fighting. Mm-hmm. So they'll probably add this into that conversation because that already exists in the books. I don't know if that justifies it existing at this point because, again, like, that exists in the books regardless of this moment. This moment is manufactured for the show, and I don't think they thought it all the way through.
Yeah.
And I don't think it totally makes sense with Rhaenys as they have presented her to us that she would make this
recklessly
move. It's super, super reckless.
Yeah.
They did say, like, in the behind the scenes for it that all they were really chasing after is giving Rhaenys a heroic moment, which I don't know that I would call this that.
Bad word.
Right. And then wanting a big action set piece moment for the finale. And having her fly away on the dragon and leave Alicent behind.
That is the writers not caring about the people on the show. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that you can have that of her flying away, and like that is, you know, again, playing into that metaphor, right? Watch me fly away from the window of the wall of your prison.
Word.
Here you are with your shitty son as king and your shitty dad.
Yeah. I do hope there are consequences for the 1,000 deaths that just happened.
Yeah.
Because if that is a plot point that we will see in the future, I'm glad. But for right now, it was definitely like, would Rhaenys actually do that? Would she murder countless people just to escape?
Yeah.
I mean, I know she wants to escape, but like, she doesn't seem like she's sad that what she just did.
That's a Daemon move, but Daemon also would have followed through after that and killed them.
Would have.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But like, that's a Daemon kind of move as far as like not giving a shit and letting all his people die to do what he's there to do.
Yeah.
It's not a very Rhaenys move.
Now my question is, if the dragon is able to break through who knows how much of flooring, couldn't she just break through a gate? Potentially. But that's a different story for season 2 maybe. Ben, you got any other characters you want to bring up real quick?
Not really. We touched on pretty much all of the big ones. I mean, I feel bad for I will say I definitely feel bad for the second granddaughter. Not Bela, but the younger one, because you can tell that she really liked Luke.
Yeah.
And now he's a dragon nugget.
Kristen Cole is the most incel little baby boy.
Oh my god.
And he thinks he's the queen's special boy, and I think he's going to be really bothered when he finds out about that foot thing with Larys.
It's almost like a reverse of Larys, where like she's using Kristen Cole because he is such a chode and such
they're both characters who lie to themselves about their sense of nobility and piety.
Yeah, he's such a fake.
They're both lying to themselves and to each other about who they are.
At least Kristen Cole, he's worse because he's like his whole thing is about knighthood, and he's like the worst knight of them all.
Yeah.
I hope Graham McTavish comes back.
Me too.
Man, yes. Dracula. Oh hell yeah. That dude's definitely gonna join the rebellion. The rebellion.
I could see like when he. It was a really cool move. Like when he just takes his cloak off, he's like, I'm not about this. Deuces.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, dude.
I do think that we're in the time jump point, you know, going from 5 to 6, where Kristen Cole hit the future king consort Laenor at the time.
Oh yeah,
and then is just still allowed to be the queen's #1 guard guy. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of questionable that got okayed.
Nobody fails harder upwards than
importantly, the end of episode 5's death of Joffrey, that Kristen Cole murders him, that happened in a tournament as the cover in the book. In the show now, it happens at the wedding and everything, and there's a lot of like things that are sensible about that. But the thing that doesn't make sense is that it doesn't make sense for why people wouldn't, specifically like Graham McTavish's character, would allow Kristen Cole to still be among their ranks after doing something like that at the wedding.
That's a good point.
Alicent doesn't have that much sway at that point in time.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. And this is they went for something with the show, and it created a conundrum because like logically there's no way. Whereas in the book story where it's covered by a tournament, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to just say, he got caught up in the heat of it. Like, we see that in the first episode. With them doing the tournament.
God, man, that would have been a nice full circle too of like we meet Kristen Cole and he's like, oh, he's a gentleman, he's handsome.
Yes.
And then you see who he really is in the next tournament.
Right, and it could have been a tournament like celebrating the wedding after they got married or around the marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
But making it that choice made it so that I'm like, I don't know how they let that guy stay around after he killed that man blatantly and ruined that whole night. And punched the king consort in the face. Wouldn't Corlys want the man at least stripped of his rank, sent to the wall? I hear that's a punishment people get for things like this right now. Kristen Cole should have been sent to the wall for that one.
No, it's true.
I'm just saying.
That's a little like... Again, poor Beasley. He just wanted to read the accounting of the doc stuff. That 75-year-old man. No, he was like, I'm 60 and 7 winters, and I've known Viserys longer than any of you.
Yeah.
Like, nah, ball in the face. Man.
It's like, you roll 6. Uh-oh.
Very quickly, I think the show looks impressive. Like, I think, like, 99% of the time, like, the dragons look incredible. Sometimes it's not as great, but, like...
Every once in a while.
But, like, most of the time, the dragons look insane. The costumes, obviously, are always great. Like,
that day to night is pretty rough in the...
The day to night, even with the greatest
TV,
you could possibly buy that we have downstairs, like
maybe to its own disservice, it was the greatest TV you could.
Why do you film an entire scene during the day just to have it during night? Like I for the scene specifically, I don't understand why they did it. But like it at least I could see what's happening.
I see why they wanted it to be at night. Vhagar looks better in the dark.
Oh, that's fair.
It's just easier to make Vhagar, specifically that dragon, look better at night.
There was one scene where there was a bunch of dragons on screen at once, like when everyone comes to Dragonstone. I'm like, man, that's a lot of dragons. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's
they're
cool.
all gonna get torn apart. Oh no.
But still, Godzilla.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. Like, it is going to be so cool seeing, like, more characters pop up, more dragons pop up. Like, I think they said, like, 17 dragons is, like, how many they're going to have at one point, like, during the show's peak. And I'm like, that's a house with a dragon. Oh, my God. So, like, this is probably going to go 4 or 5 seasons, they've said.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Actually, part of me, for some odd reason, if this show were to keep going on, part of me kind of hopes that the show's grand finale is Robert's Rebellion. Like the show ends with the House of the Dragon falling and House Baratheon taking the Iron Throne.
I don't think that would be in the cards. I'll say that.
I think this is going to be Targaryen. I think this is going to be mostly Targaryen focused. I see why you'd want to lead it into closer to Game of Thrones, but I don't think that's the trajectory they have. Like an Andor and a Rogue One.
Yeah, but it's still about the Targaryens. It's just how the Targaryens fell.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like,
I think
for that story is that, like, some of this stuff, the Dance of Dragons stuff, had been settled for a while, and then the Mad King goes mad. Those things aren't the same. Like, there's not as much stuff going on, at least not that's written, right, from Martin. There's not as much character stuff going on in there for creating a show around, for creating drama around. Like, you basically just be doing a time jump to the Mad King.
Okay.
They don't cleanly lead, like, it's not like the Dance of Dragons ends and then the Mad King does his thing. No,
I wasn't going to say it leads immediately into the Mad King. I mean, this is like a multi-season show.
No, I get you, Ben. I'm saying, like, the show is about the story from the Fire and Blood. And that end of that story is not the Mad King.
Okay.
So, like,
we would need a lot of time to pass.
You would be you would essentially be doing a new show.
Yeah.
You'd be time jumping to new characters to do the prequel to Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like the prequel.
Yeah, like, basically just what you're asking, Ben, is, like, we just want a lot more Game of Thrones, and I agree with you. But this isn't the show.
Not the Jon Snow show. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. If the quality is this good, if, like, as long as the script, like, at this point, like,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's a wait and see approach. Like, I am not anti Game of Thrones anymore because, like, now we're talking about the whole season of a television show, right? Yeah. So, like, the things have been dusted off. So, like, I'm ready to put the boots on again as long as it's good.
If the writing is still continues to be above average, or not above average, well, the writing, I think the writing is great.
Yeah,
I think the writers of the show have been phenomenal. If that continues to happen, of course, the show's got to get a bigger budget as it goes on, as it brings more money. And if another creators are asked to do a Star Wars film in the future, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think that as long as we continue to tell, especially a female-centric story, I hope they continue to have females writers and directors, because I think that's made a big impact of why this show is as good. I think if this had been a completely male-written and directed show, I don't know that I would like these exact story elements the way that they would have done it in pacing the show, because I don't think they would have done the inner workings for the characters of Alicent and Rhaenyra that I think the show lives by.
Yeah.
I think it would be weaker without them.
I 100% agree with you. I have a feeling that it's gonna stay this. It's gonna continue.
I think so too.
Because we're still dealing with the
same. It's Alicent and Rhaenyra's show.
Absolutely, yeah, and they're not gonna get rid of what's working with the show. I think.
And Emma Darcy and Olivia Cooke are doing an incredible job. Very happy to see them. I do lament our very talented young actors who played them for their first 5 episodes. Yeah, because they were both fantastic, and it's sad that we can't stick with them.
There is no reason to think, because I don't think anyone could have expected how popular the show was going to be before it came out, especially how popular some of these actors would be, especially those 2 young actors
who are very new,
who are new. Yeah, young Rhaenyra. This was her first thing that she ever did, and she's excellent. I got a feeling that they like those actors so much they might do some flashback stuff. It's not like Game of Thrones has not done that before, just to get those people back. Because there's no reason you can't do it, Brody, in a flashback technically, right? Everything's a prequel.
Yeah,
I got a fun fact. If you're watching Andor, Deidre Miro, that actor who's playing Deidre, she was in the failed pilot for the Children of the Winter, 1,000 Years in the Past Game of Thrones TV show with Naomi Watts. And that pilot was not good, she said. That's why I didn't get picked up. So she thought she was done with franchise stuff. And then she got the call from Star Wars, and now look where she is. I'm like, yeah! You're the best fascist in the world. Love it. That's Andor, though. It's a different show. House of the Dragon. I think that's it. Any other thoughts?
I will say it's a little bit of a downer note, but I think in terms of the Laenor story, it is a improvement over the kind of killing your queer characters that happens in the book, where Laenor's just dead. But it is still he loses his life to the patriarchy, the misogyny of the way that the system is structured. And I do hope that we find more room for they'll leave the gods criticizing as they are, but more room for good queer representation to still come. I do think it's a bummer to lose. This is the book's written at a different point in time compared to even now, where how this representation is handled and everything, and then Martin's been in the game of this world for a long time. But I think anyone who feels that's kind of shitty for the way of who that character was and what that means, and getting them carted out, regardless of them passing in the book, it still is a carting them out of the world kind of thing.
That is true. Yeah.
So hopefully, we can always find those outlets for more good queer representation somewhere in the stories of Westeros.
I'm curious if they will go into Alicent and Rhaenyra a little bit more.
Yes, it does feel like that kind of,
because they definitely in episode 8 they that connection was not just familiar that they felt. I don't think that was definitely we maybe belong together, but we can't ever talk about it.
It really feels like in episode 1 that it's romantic.
Yeah.
But we have stayed pretty far away from that idea since.
I'm curious, just if the longer the war goes on, the worse things are going to get. Spoilers, it's going to get only worse.
Yeah.
That the show will do it it's not so much, I guess, in the book, but the show has leaned into it a little bit. She will go, okay, what about the future I have left? Maybe it should be with the person that I really do love the most. And she's recalling back to her childhood with Alicent. And I'm curious if they would do that.
I would love to see it acknowledged, but do you think that they can actually be characters who can find that path back to each other when they both feel at going forward from this point that they are responsible for the death of their own children?
Yeah.
I don't know that becomes workable.
Because of how messy everything is, I think those 2 characters, through all the messiness, will be able to find each other still.
I think they could. I think they could address a lamentation that they could. That they
not didn't. That they're going to end up together or anything, not like that, but they will cross paths again where the romance aspect of their lives will be hinted, and they'll be this could have been our future together.
That I agree with. This idea of what was lost, I think that they can reflect on. Can they actually take that now? Probably not.
Oh, after the death of her son. No.
I think after blaming each other for the death of their children, they're not going to be able to find each other.
No, it is again all downhill from here, unfortunately, for the Targaryen family and the Hightower family. To be honest, everyone's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. speaking of going down, I think that's the end of this podcast.
I believe that is.
Last things I wanted to spotlight real quick are just that eye for an eye scene. They now see you for what you are. Incredible exchange. The notion that Kristen Cole was going to murder Rhaenyra in that room, in front of the king, I was like, damn, this dude's ready to risk it all for Alicent.
No, I remember he's like walking down the hallway and he blatantly just says the C word and out of nowhere.
And Alicent is just like, whoa,
bro, what?
You broke your piety there, man.
Yeah, he's
so burned.
Yeah, he's the world's first incel. Yeah.
Just that's maybe one of my favorite bits of the entire show is that coming down to the eye for the eye moment for how everybody performs in that scene.
Yeah.
Otto, Aemond, Aegon, Luke and Jace, Rhaenyra, Alicent, Viserys, everybody's so fantastic in that scene. That scene is hugely important.
And Viserys is just like, I just want my family to be whole.
Yeah.
Can't we stop fighting? The Targaryen house is stronger together.
Viserys is incredible.
Yeah.
What an incredible character.
I'm gonna miss his presence, but I'm real excited to get some Dragon Wars.
They changed the design of the painted table from Game of Thrones, but I like this design.
Thank you for bringing it up. The flaming table that Etsy.com will now sell for $12 million. Someone will make. Oh my god, that's the coolest table that's ever been made in the world.
The fact that when the candles start coming out and they put the candles underneath the table and they start glowing, I'm like, I want that.
Oh,
that is 10 times cooler than what Game of Thrones had. Because Game of Thrones is just like, here's a table that looks like Westeros, have fun. Now it's like, no, now you can actually read the damn thing.
Ooh, stunning. And again, we mentioned last time, but the throne, the Iron Throne being way bigger and more accurate to the book is really cool.
This is another one of those things where this is more accurate to the book. I've heard the artistic description from the story of what this table should look like in this moment, and I think they created it beautifully with the candles going under and the flame of it.
I'm sure it exists because the episode's old by this point, but I'm gonna go back and see I want to watch the behind the scenes of the final episode.
Yeah,
because man, that's some good shit. Oh, you mentioned it earlier, but one of the brothers brings the crown at the funeral. Eric, and is like, hey, I'm swearing fealty to you.
Very importantly,
different crown.
Viserys' crown. She is taking Viserys' crown, which really, shows her claim and how valid it is, and her connection and the peaceful king and her passing on that reign. What crown does Aegon have? Oh, the crown of Aegon the Conqueror. The conquering guy.
And I love this will be my final thought. I love that for 99% of the journey, Aegon does not want to be king, and then he sees a crowd of people cheering his name. He looks at the sword and he does a cheer, and he's like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm a king, baby!" And then the rest of the show is gonna happen, which I'm really excited to see.
Man, I really hate that the realization of how much he loves. He's reveling in the cheering and the chanting, or not the chanting, but just all the people loving him because he's the king at that point.
Long live the king.
Oh, yeah. This is just gonna make you want to cling to this no matter what, and I'm gonna hate you even more.
And it's prophecy. He's the chosen king through prophecy, and how do you fight that, man? How do you fight against that? We'll find out next season, don't we?
Importantly, I think it's interesting. We talked about Daemon. Daemon doesn't want the throne. Aemond is very much a parallel kind of character to Daemon in a lot of ways, but
he's hungry.
But Aemond craves the throne.
He's hungry for it
and thinks he's next in line for it, which he's not. Aegon has children. Even by their twisted logic of if Aegon is the king, Aegon has kids. Aemond is not next in line.
Yeah. Aemond is the what's his name? The brother the brother who got his head sliced in half. He's that guy. Not Vaemon. Vaemon. He's like Vaemon. He's the brother. He's the second brother. He will never be king.
Yeah.
Because he's got illegitimate kids everywhere. Ew. Yeah. Come on, Aegon. It's wild stuff.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. That craving for the throne.
They filed those kids'
teeth. He can
teeth.
never have.
Like sharks.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Messed up.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it here at the House of D, the Hot D. This is the Fake Nerd Podcast. This is Fake Nerds Watch. I should have put a logo up here, but this is Fake Nerds Watch. This is what that show is. We're talking about other shows. We're talking about Andor. That'll probably be the last thing we talk about this year.
I'll put it in post.
There you go. I don't think I have it. That's why. I might have it. Anyway.
No, I gave it to you.
Oh it's true. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we have more things to talk about. We're going to talk about Willow, the TV show. We talked about Willow on the Fake Nerd podcast.
We'll talk about Andor.
And we're going to talk about Andor. Episodes 6 through 10 coming soon.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, that show's pretty good. You should watch that show if you're not watching it.
7 through 10.
7 through 10. Hey, how do numbers work? Who knows? That's I'm not good at it.
Damon, when he counts dragons, he knows how numbers work.
Oh, okay. Look at that. There's 17 of them. This is Fake Nerd Podcast. We go live every Sunday. We are talking about this week Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Oh my gosh, forever. That's a movie that definitely came out. Hell yeah. You can find me everywhere at Ryan Eliopoulos, at DJ Tony Snark. I'm so bad at in outro guys. Oh my god! I'm at DJ Tony Snark 6'6" right here. I got my friend Sparkz Woody. Where are you at? Even though it says it.
You can find me just waiting for our Black Panther review, where Ben will come out hot and heavy and say Wakanda Forever was mid. At Sparkz Woody on Instagram and Twitter. SPARKZ Woody.
The hierarchy of the Wakandan universe is about to change.
What? No, not spoilers, but also, what the hell, man? I did that one time and now that's my bit?
It's a good bit.
Jesus. All right. Anyways, you can find me on the internet at BenMag27, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm all there, same username. You can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, and GoNintendo.com.
Yeah, Fake Nerd Podcast here on YouTube, on all the podcast platforms. And until next time, stay fake nerds. Hot D.
The hottest of D's.
The hottest of D's. Goodbye.